I also want to ask, I want to get back to the protective gear, the helmets, what have you. And how does the youth, and we can ask all of you, how does the youth helmet, the protective gear, compare as far as safety, quality, to the NFL and NHL? I mean, can you give me an opinion on that?
So I'm certainly no expert on exactly how that compares. I mean, my understanding is there obviously is NOCSI, the standard bearer, and they set the standards, and certainly all the helmets out there have to pass that standard, and I think the manufacturer, if they were sitting here, would say they go above and beyond that. How it compares to an NFL helmet, I think generally speaking, the youth helmet is lighter, but the padding and so forth is appropriate. I don't want to suggest I'm defending them. I don't know the exact details. I know it's sufficient based on standards and so forth. Many of the kids, though, I mean, the players, youth players, I mean, by 10 and 11 and 12 years old, they're transitioning into what might be considered, certainly high school or adult helmets. So they're getting the best available. And the other thing I would add is, certainly I am aware that the technology is improving in helmets and shoulder pads and football equipment generally. It's definitely improving.
Mr. Miller?
Sure. We worked on a program with the Consumer Product Safety Commission, our Players Association, and some others recently that we would put money towards reconditioning helmets, older helmets for youth leagues. Certainly leagues that have, budget constraints, as many do, probably don't get around to updating their helmets or what they call reconditioning them frequently enough. And so we put a fair amount of money into that program in coordination with the CPSC. I know Scott, USA Football, runs an equipment grant program as well. So addressing those needs, we know that a new helmet's better than an old helmet. We know a reconditioned helmet's better than one that hasn't been. Most important of all is that that coaches learn how to fit the helmets. That's going to be the #1 safety piece to the equation as it relates to kids. And so we're aware of these issues, and we're trying to make a difference there as well.
So in your opinion, the youth helmet or the high school helmet is not as safe as the NFL, but you do have a program to help. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know about the comparative.
The quality might not be as good.
I don't know about the comparative safety of the helmets.
Okay.
I suppose that's probably a question that.
Can I talk to you about this,
of course,
particular program?
No question.
Help out, because I know of parents where the kids play high school football, and the parent will purchase a better quality helmet for the child, and I'm concerned about the kids that don't have the parents don't have the money to purchase that, and it's so very important. So I would appreciate working with you on this.
Every kid deserves the proper equipment.
There's an existing grant program out there. I'd like to hear about it. And then also, can I hear from the hockey as well? NHL?
Sure. At the youth level, I think the helmets are just as good as the National Hockey League. The only difference is size. They have to be certified by the Hockey Equipment Certification Council. There's a 3-year expiration date on every helmet. You can't use a helmet that's more than 3 years old.
Very good. NHL.
Yeah, no, I would first echo Mr. Miller's comments that helmets in our sport as well are principally designed to prevent skull fractures. They're not principally designed to prevent concussions, and sometimes they can disperse force in a way that does prevent concussion, but that's not their principal purpose. We also have regulations that we make available to our equipment managers and our players with respect to frequent replacing of helmets. So each player is essentially asked to replace his home helmet at least once a season, and his road team helmet at least two times a season, because we're worried about aging effects and degradation that accompanies travel requirements for our team. So frequent replacing of helmets is a priority for our league as well.
Are the coaches educated? I mean, do they know which size fits the child? Have they been briefed on those particular issues? Because that's so very important. Youth sports, hockey and football.
They are. I agree with Mr. Miller that it is it's a big difference maker, in the helmet doing its job. But it's a pretty fundamental part of what a coach has to do to make sure the players on his team all have the proper equipment and are wearing it in the right way.
Very good. Yeah.
And I would just add, yes, I would just add that that's a cornerstone of our Heads of Football program, equipment fitting, because frankly, at the youth and high school level, we found that don't know how to properly fit equipment. So it's a very important element within the program.
Thank you very much for including that. As far as the youth, of course, the NFL, hockey stars, what have you, baseball, basketball, they're looked up to by our children, as you know. Do y'all have programs where you can maybe go to the schools, football players, what have you, professional football players, go to the schools and speak on these particular issues?
Yeah, one of the and our active players are by and large terrific at this topic. One of the elements we included or offered up to USA Football as part of their heads of football program was actually what we call an ambassador. So for leagues that were early adopters of the program, they would get visits and consultation with a retired NFL player. We're trying to encourage our clubs, with great success, by the way. They've really done a terrific job of embracing in their communities the youth leagues and others, and so that they're around the facility more, that they interact with coaches, trainers, and certainly players, which obviously bring the star quality of it, brings attention to it, which was part of the motivation in the first place. But we have found our retired players thrilled to participate and really active and helpful to the end that you suggest.
Gentlemen's time has expired.